Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk. I'd like to call this Development Services Committee meeting to order. And before reading the land acknowledgement, I'd just like to ask everyone to silence their cell phones while they're in chambers. And for those coming up to the podium, please adjust the microphone when you speak into it so that you can be heard, both online and for the purposes of the digital record of the meeting. The Township of Oro-Medonte acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people and the ancestral territory of the Huron-Wendat. The Anishinaabe include the Ottawa, the Ojibwe, and the Potawatomi, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. It continues today as the home for diverse Indigenous peoples, including the historic Métis community in Penetanguishene. The Anishinaabe people continue to have an enduring relationship with this land, specifically the Chippewas of the Rama First Nation, the Chippewa Tri-Council, and the William Treaties First Nations. The Huron-Wendat Nation also continues to pay respect and protect their ancestors and heritage on this land. We honor the Indigenous history and culture that has thrived for millennia in this territory, and the treaties that bind us together as partners in a shared and sustainable and prosperous future. We are all treaty people. Our commitment begins with acknowledging the truth so that we can move forward towards reconciliation. Madam Deputy Clerk, may we have the motion to approve the agenda, please?
Moved by Hutchison, seconded by Greenlaw. It is recommended that the agenda for the Development Services Committee meeting of Wednesday, August 6, 2025 be received and approved.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? The motion is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Councillor Bard.
I'm going to excuse myself from 6A as I am a co-worker of one of the applicants.
Thank you very much. May we have a motion to approve the draft minutes of the previous Development Services Committee meeting?
Moved by Young, seconded by Bard. It is recommended that the draft minutes of the Development Services Committee meeting held on Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025 be received and approved as printed and circulated.
Thank you very much. Any comments on the minutes? Seeing none, may I call a vote, please? All in favor? The motion is carried. This evening we have five public meetings and 3 public hearings. The agenda is up on the screen at the moment, and I'll just briefly summarize the process that we'll go through for each of the hearings and meetings. So each application will be considered separately, and staff will advise of the purpose and effect of each application, provide any relevant information, note any correspondence that has been received to date, and advise of any correspondence received during the course of the hearing or meeting. Also advise whether there's a statement from the applicant or if the applicant intends to make a presentation. If so, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation. After the presentation, any members of the public that have registered to provide comment or are here in chambers will be given the opportunity to speak to the application being considered, and the deputy clerk will advise of those who have registered. And finally, staff will confirm if there's any further correspondence that is being received during the public hearing or meeting. And there will be a separate statement read before each public meeting and hearing. Thank you. With that, we'll start with the first public meeting on the agenda, which is the application 2025 ZBA-27. It's the application of Jim Partridge at 1307 Line 3 North. And this public meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA-27 submitted by Jim Partridge on lands municipally known as 1307 Line 3 North. Please be advised that this hearing is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record. Only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and the requested agencies will the Development Services Committee proceed and make a decision on the zoning bylaw amendment application. Madam Deputy Clerk, has there been correspondence received on this matter?
Correspondence received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Building Division, July 7, Operations Division, July 10, and Bridge Gas, July 11, and Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, dated July 22nd, 2025.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn the meeting over to Catherine McCarroll, Senior Planner, who will explain the purpose and effect of the zoning bylaw amendment application and any written statement received from the applicant. Ms. McCarroll, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lavoie. The subject property is located at 1307 Line 3 North. The property is zoned agricultural rural and designated agricultural in the township's official plan. And the current use of the property is both agricultural and residential. The applicants obtained approval of consent application 2024 B14 on May 7th, 2025 to permit the severance of a surplus farm dwelling. One of the conditions of the consent was that the applicants obtain a zoning bylaw amendment. So the purpose of this zoning bylaw amendment application is to rezone the severed lands from the agricultural rural zone to the rural residential 2 zone to recognize the existing residential use, and to rezone the retained lands from the agricultural rural zone to an agricultural rural exception zone to prohibit future residential uses on the retained lands. This is an aerial photo of the property. The dwelling is located in the southwest corner of the property, and then there is a watercourse and floodplain in the northwest corner, and the remainder of the property is being farmed. This is the applicant's zoning sketch. The lands that were conditionally severed are identified in red. Those lands are proposed to be rezoned to the rural residential 2 zone to recognize existing residential use. And the remainder of the property is proposed to be rezoned agricultural rural exception zone to prohibit future residential uses. These photos show the views looking both north and south along Line 3 North. This photo shows the dwelling on the lands that were conditionally severed, and these lands are proposed to be rezoned to the residential 1 zone. And this photo shows the retained lands that will be rezoned to an agricultural rural exception zone to prohibit residential uses. The public notice sign was not posted on the property in accordance with the Planning Act. Therefore, we will be doing this presentation again at a future Development Services Committee meeting. I'm available if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCarroll. Any comments or questions for staff from the committee members? Nope, seeing none. Is there anyone who is registered to speak to this matter, Madam Deputy Clerk?
No, Mr. Chair, there were no registrations received.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone in chambers here who has come to speak to this matter? Seeing no one who wishes to speak on this matter, thank you very much. Has there been further correspondence received during the course of the meeting?
No additional comments were received.
Thank you very much. And with that, there are no additional motions or anything required at this point, so we can simply close the meeting and proceed. As staff has previously noted, the public notice sign was not posted in accordance with the requirements of the Act on the subject lands, and therefore we will hold a somewhat abbreviated meeting, I hope, in the future as well. So this completes the application process and closes this meeting, and if we're not too soon, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. We'll have to wait about 5 minutes in order to go to the next item. They're all timed, so we can't begin at a time. So stand by.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, would you like to deal with the report 7A, the Litwin report? The other two, we cannot do ahead of time because there's public meetings for them.
Yes, thank
Or
you
if you,
very
or
much.
you would like to, or if we can break.
No, that's fine. We've just started, so we might as well keep rolling.
Okay, thank you.
The mayor will be very grateful. So yes, could we have a motion for item 7A, please?
Moved by Hutchison, seconded by Clark. It is recommended, one, that DS 2025-079, George Fedaboncourt, Manager, Planning, Special Projects, Rezoning Bylaw Amendment Application 2025 ZBA 22, Litwin, 869 Woodland Drive, be received and adopted. Two, that zoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA 22, specifically to permit an oversized accessory building with a second floor loft on the lands municipally known as 869 Woodland Drive, Township of Oro-Medonte, be approved. Three, that the staff bring forth the appropriate bylaw for council's consideration. And four, that the applicant be advised of the committee's decision under the Director of Development Services signature.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions with regard to the motion from the members of the committee? Okay, seeing none, may I call the vote, please? All those in favor of the motion? The motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, so we'll just wait approximately 3 minutes till 5:45. And there we are. We are now at 5:45, and we can proceed with item 5B. So this application is 2025 ZBA 28 and 2025B 14. The applicant is John Lynch, and the municipal address is 1916 Old Barry Road. I suppose there should be an east or a west there. East? East, thank you. So this public meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment application 2024 ZBA-28 and consent application 2025B14 submitted by John Lynch on lands municipally known as 1916 Old Barry Road East. Please be advised that this meeting is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record, and only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and requested agencies will the Development Services Committee make a decision on the zoning bylaw amendment and the consent applications. Madam Deputy Clerk, has there been communication received on this matter?
Correspondence received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Building Division dated July 7, 14, and 28. Township of Oro-Medonte Operations Division dated July 10 and 14. Enbridge Gas dated July 11 and July 17. And Hydro One dated July 29, 2025.
Thank you very much. Now turn the meeting over to Victoria Lemieux and David Scarcelloni, agents who will explain the purpose and effect of the zoning bylaw amendment and the consent applications and any written statement received from the applicant. Mr. Scarcelloni, please state your name and proceed.
David Scarcelloni, Junior Planner with Morgan Planning and Development. Good evening, Chair and Committee. I'll be the agent responsible for representing the applicant with all planning matters as it relates to the property and applications 2025-B-14 and 2025-ZBA-28. If we could just move on to the next slide, please. So just an overview of the location of the subject lands. They're adjacent to Old Barry Road East and Line 12, partially located within the Rugby Settlement area. That little jutting out edge in the southeast corner is the only part of the property that's within the Rugby Settlement area. So we could just skip 2 slides ahead, actually. I'll explain the site description while we have the aerial imagery up here. As I mentioned, at the intersection of Old Barry Road and Line 12 North within the Rugby Settlement area, the lands are currently developed with an existing barn and shed, both used for storage purposes. With no residential dwelling currently on the property. The farmlands are currently rented out, and the property has 2 driveway accesses, one onto each frontage, one in that little jutting out portion in the southeast corner and one on Line 12 North. It's approximately 52 hectares with 433.1 meters of combined frontage along Old Barry Road. It's actively farmed and there are no services. So if we could just move on to the next slide, please. Just a quick overview into the zoning and designation. It's zoned Ag Rural, Mineral Aggregate Resources 2, and Environmental Protection, as you can see on the screenshot on the left. In the township, it is designated Agricultural, Greenlands, Rural, and Rural Settlements, which mirrors the designations of the county, Greenlands, Agricultural, Rural, and Settlements in the same format as on the screenshot on the right. If we could just move on to the next slide, please. Just into an overview of the consent application in question. The purpose of the consent application is to create 1 new residential lot within the Rugby Settlement area. The severed lot will front onto Old Barry Road East and will utilize the existing entrance on Old Barry Road East. The retained lot will facilitate the existing agricultural use and existing barn, as well as the storage buildings. And the entirety of the severed lot will be within the Rugby Settlement area, adjacent to the Rugby Settlement area boundary. It is anticipated that the severed lot will be developed in the future with a single detached dwelling, and a concurrent zoning bylaw amendment application has been submitted, which we'll get to in a couple slides. So next slide, please. Just an overview of the consent sketch. So as you can see in the zoomed in screenshot on the right there, the lands to be severed are entirely within the Rugby Settlement area, which is delineated by the dashed red line. And on the bottom, you can see the areas and frontages of each lot, which will be compliant with the zone, given the approval of the zoning bylaw amendment. So if we could just move on to the next slide. We'll move into an overview of the zoning bylaw amendment. The retained lot will maintain compliance with the minimum lot area and frontage requirements, as well as all the requirements of the ag rural zone. The severed lands are proposed to be rezoned from the agricultural rural zone to the residential 1 zone. The residential 1 zone is consistent with other residential lots within the Rugby Settlement area, and the severed lot will be compliant with the minimum area, which is 0.2 hectares, and minimum frontage, which is 30 meters of the residential 1 zone. Moving on to the next slide. We submitted a planning justification report with the application, which has regard to the provincial planning statement, the county official plan, as well as the township official plan and zoning bylaw. And it's worth mentioning that the severed lot is within a settlement area where development is targeted by the province, county, and township. So if we could just move into the next slide. To conclude, the consent application is seeking to create one severed lot and one retained lot. The severed lot is located entirely within the Rugby settlement area and anticipated to be developed in the future for residential use. The retained lot is designated to comply with the zoning requirements of the ARU zone, and the severed lot is designed to comply with the requirements of the R1 zone given approval. It's consistent with the provincial planning statement, and we believe that it conforms to both the County of Simcoe and Township of Oro-Medonte official plans. And upon approval of a zoning bylaw amendment application, which was submitted concurrently with the consent application, it will comply with the Township zoning bylaw. And it's also worth noting that we've read staff's report, DS-2025-084, and we agree with their recommendation and all recommended conditions. Thank you. I'll be willing to entertain any questions, comments, or concerns from members of the public or members of the committee at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scarcelloni. Committee members, do you have any questions for the agent? No, seeing none, seems that you've done very well.
Thank you.
Is there anyone registered to speak to this matter, Madam Deputy Clerk?
No, Mr. Chair, there were no additional registrations received.
Okay, and is there anyone else who's come here in chambers to speak to this matter? Seeing none. Any additional correspondence received during the course of the meeting?
No additional comments were received.
Thank you. With that, I guess that completes the hearing, the meeting process and closes it. It seems fairly straightforward. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Chair Committee.
And we'd like to thank everybody for their participation, either through written comments or oral comments. And copy of the further meeting will be mailed out to the applicant, any agent, and anyone who has submitted written comments or provided oral comments during the course of the meeting. With that, at 6 o'clock, we can move ahead to the next matter on the agenda. Madam Deputy Clerk, do you have any? There's nothing else we can pick up from the agenda.
Until 6 o'clock, we could deal with the corresponding report for this public meeting, which would be item 7C.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you very much. So please proceed with the report, and we have a motion for it.
Moved by Greenlaw, seconded by Bard. It is recommended, one, that DS 2025-084, Andy Karaskakis, Manager, Planning Services, rezoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA 28, and consent application 2025 B14, Lynch, 1916 Old Berry Road East, be received and adopted. Two, that zoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA 28, specifically to rezone the severed lands from the agricultural rural ARU zone to the residential 1R1 zone on the lands municipally known as 1916 Old Berry Road East, Township of Oro-Medonte, be approved. Three, that the staff bring forward the appropriate bylaw for council's consideration. Four, that consent application 2025 B14 Lynch to permit the creation of a new residential lot having a lot frontage of approximately 67.0 meters, 219.8 feet, a lot depth of approximately 78.8 meters, 258.5 feet, and an area of approximately 0.57 hectares, 1.4 acres be approved, subject to the conditions as outlined in DS 2025-084. 5, that the applicant be advised of the committee's decision under the Secretary Treasurer's signature.
Thank you very much. Committee members, any comments or questions with regard to the motion or the report? Okay, seeing none, may I call the vote, please? All in favor? Okay, all right, just want to make sure there. Thank you very much. The motion is carried, and with that, we're moving well along with the agenda.
We have 5 minutes until the 6 o'clock public hearing. If you'd like to take a 5-minute break until 6 o'clock.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Deputy Mayor, we're live.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk. We'll just wait for the seating of Councillor Young, and then we'll proceed. So the application, this application for this public meeting is 2025ZBA-32. The applicants are Connie and Jason Reed, and the municipal address is 1004, line 14 north. This public meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment application 2025ZBA-32, submitted by Connie and Jason Reed on lands municipally known as 1004, line 14 north. Please be advised that this meeting is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record. Only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and requested agencies will the Development Services Committee make a decision on the zoning bylaw amendment application. Has there been communication received on this matter, Madam Deputy Clerk?
Correspondence received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Operations Division, July 14, and Severn Sound Environmental Association dated July 15, 2025.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn the meeting over to George Vadaboncourt, Manager of Planning and Special Projects, who will explain the purpose and effect of the zoning bylaw amendment application and any written statement received from the applicant. Mr. Vadaboncourt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, members of committee. I'll be presenting the background to zoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA 32 submitted by Reed. I can confirm that the application was deemed complete on July 9th and a public notice was mailed out on July 11th in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. The location of the property is at 1004 line 14 north. The zoning of the property is agricultural rural. The official plan designation is rural. The current use is rural residential. The size of the property is about 7.5 hectares, about 18.5 acres. It has about 61 meters of frontage, about 200 feet of frontage on 1004 line 14 north. Next slide, please. The purpose of the zoning bylaw amendment application is to permit a permanent accessory dwelling on the subject property. The applicant was granted permission in 2015 to locate a garden suite for a period of 10 years as provided for under the Planning Act, and the period has expired. The property would be rezoned from the agricultural rural zone to the agricultural rural exception zone to permit an accessory dwelling on the property. Next slide, please. So these two images, the one on the left shows an aerial photo of the property. You can see the long driveway coming in from line 14 north. There's a barn on the bottom left-hand corner. The driveway curves around. The single family dwelling is on the right-hand side, and the accessory dwelling is at the end of the driveway toward the top of the image. The existing zoning is indicated as agricultural rural, and the property is surrounded by mineral aggregate resource 1 and 2. And as you can see by the image on the left, there is an active pit on the south side of the property. Next slide, please. The official plan designates the property rural, and around the surrounding the property is mineral aggregate resource. Next slide, please. So this is a site plan sketch of the accessory dwelling unit location. And as I indicated previously, it's located at the end of the circular driveway. There's a little black rectangular shape showing where the location, and I'll describe that a little further in the pictures. Next slide, please. So in considering the zoning application, there will be some policy matters that will have to be addressed. The first is under the Planning Act in November 2022. the province enacted legislation entitled Building More Homes or Building More Homes Built Faster, and basically encouraging additional dwelling units to be constructed. In October of 2024, the province adopted the provincial planning statement, and in there they have policies dealing with housing and the creation of housing, and some guidance for municipalities in considering residential development on rural lands, and they're to be considered where site conditions are suitable for the provision of appropriate sewage and water services. Next slide, please. The county and township official plan also have policies with respect to residential development in the rural area. On the left is just a couple of snippets from the county official plan, basically saying that limited residential development is permitted in the rural area. And on the right-hand side is the township official plan and some highlights of the policies from the township official plan that basically state that rural residential development is permitted subject to a number of criteria that are listed on this slide. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to go through some images, members of committee. What you see on your screen is three images. The one on the left is basically the entrance to the property, and the public notification sign at the entrance. The picture in the middle is line 14 north, looking north, and the picture on the right is line 14 north, looking south. Next slide, please. The image on the left is basically showing a wetland immediately south of the property. It's a very small wetland, but I thought it might be of interest to members of committee. The image in the center is the driveway, and looking back to line 14 north, it's you can see it's well treed. And then the image on the right is looking toward the development cluster. That's where all the single family dwelling, all the activity is on the property. Next slide, please. So as you head down the driveway, the image on the left is the barn that I spoke of. And there's the image on the center is the single family dwelling at the center of the development cluster. And the driveway curves at the barn and proceeds to the accessory dwelling. And there's a garage on the left-hand side, and there's the dwelling is on the right. Next slide, please. So as we head down the driveway, you can see the garage on the left, and then what was the garden suite at the end of the driveway. That's the image on the left, and then the image on the right is the close-up of the garden suite with the attic room and porch. And this was all part of the site plan that was approved when the garden suite was initially approved back in 2015. Next slide, please. So these three images basically show the garden suite. So on the image on the left is the land area in behind the garden suite, and you can see in the far background there's a couple of piles of aggregate reflective of the aggregate operation that surrounds the property. The image in the center is the west side of the garden suite. And if you look closely, you can see the occupant of the garden suite right on the far right-hand side. And then the image on the right is the east side of the garden suite, and this would be the accessory dwelling that would be permitted. Next slide, please. So this concludes the staff summary of the planning context and summary of the application. As you indicated, Mr. Chair, the purpose of tonight's meeting is to receive comments from the public. There'll be no decision made at the meeting, and a report will be prepared by staff for a future meeting. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions members of the committee may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vadaboncourt. To committee members, do you have any questions with regard to this garden suite application? Yes, Councillor Schell, please.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. Through you to George. A garden suite, what's the official dimensions of a garden suite, or do they have limitations?
Through you, Mr. Chair, they don't have dimensions per se in terms of outlined as a specific requirement. This one is looks like it's a park model trailer that's had some additions approved as part of the original application. So to my knowledge, there's no minimum maximum size specified for a garden suite.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Young, please.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy. George, has it been determined yet the maximum distance in terms of feet from the main building? During a cluster type, I know that's come before a problem we've had here before. And has it been determined yet, or is it still in the works? That is to say, from the main structure to a second residence, has it been determined?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, with respect to the separation distance between the main dwelling and the accessory dwelling, as far as I understand, and I could be corrected by Ms. McCarroll here, I don't believe that there is a requirement. The only requirement is that that the on-site water and sewage system are able to provide service to both dwelling, the primary dwelling and the accessory dwelling.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I believe the location was previously permitted in 2015 in any event, so the location within the lot is not a consideration for this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, that is correct. In 2015, there was an application made to permit the garden suite. There was a staff report that came to Development Services Committee, and it was approved back in 2015, subject to the owners entering into a site plan agreement, which they did. And that approval was for a period of 10 years. And so with the change in the policy environment that I described earlier, the applicants have decided that they'd like to make the garden suite a permanent accessory dwelling.
Thank you very much. Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none. Is there anyone from the public who's registered to speak, Madam Deputy Clerk?
No, Mr. Deputy Mayor, there were no registrations received.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone in chambers here who wishes to speak to this matter? Seeing none. And have we received any further correspondence during the course of the meeting?
No additional comments were received.
Thank you, Ms. McCarroll. Okay, with that, we'll close completes this application process and closes this meeting. And the committee wishes to thank all those in attendance for your participation, either through your submission of written comments or oral comments during the meeting, and we'll consider all these matters in their decision. A copy of the decision or further meetings or reports will be mailed to the applicant agent and anyone who has submitted written comments or provided oral comments during the meeting in regard to the application. So with that, our meeting is closed. Thank you, and we'll move on in a minute's time to the next item on the agenda. Yeah, we could have, this one here, we could, if we get another break, we Okay, well, thank you very much. With that, it's 6:15, so we'll move on to the next public meeting, which is applications number 2025 OPA-03 and 2025 ZBA-29. The applicant is 10001 54468 Ontario, Inc., and the municipal address is 9289 and 9951 Highway 12. This public meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the official plan amendment 2025 OPA-03 and zoning bylaw amendment 2025 ZBA-29. The applications have been submitted by 100154468 Ontario, Inc., on lands municipally known as 9289 and 9951 Highway 12. Please be advised that this hearing is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record. Only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and requested agencies will the Development Services Committee make a decision on the official plan amendment and the zoning bylaw amendment applications. Madam Deputy Clerk, has there been correspondence received on the matter?
Correspondence has been received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Building Division and Operations Division, both dated July 14. Severn Sound Environmental Association, July 15. Enbridge Gas, July 17. Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, July 17. Ministry of Transportation, July 22nd. And County of Simcoe Planning Department, dated August 1st, 2025.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn the meeting over to Amanda Newlove, who will explain the purpose and effect of the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment applications and any written statement received from the applicant. Ms. Newlove, please state your name and proceed with your presentation.
Thank you very much, Council. My name is Amanda Newlove from the Jones Consulting Group, and we represent the owner of 9289 and 9951 Highway 12, who has submitted an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment to permit a trailer and golf cart sales and service establishment. So as we can see on the screen here, it involves two properties. So 9289 Highway 12 is to the right and 9951 Highway 12 is to the left. The lands are surrounded by agricultural and residential uses. The settlement area of Marchmont in the Township of Severn is directly to the east. And then the Township of Oro-Medonte settlement area, Price's Corners, is directly south of that. So next slide, please. So this shows some site photos of what currently exists on 9289 Highway 12. So we have a single detached dwelling, an accessory detached building, and there are 3 driveway accesses, 2 on Old Coldwater Road and 1 on Highway 12. Through consultation with the MTO, the access you see here through Highway 12 that's gated is proposed to remain. The lands also have a parking area and there's some manicured lawn areas. What you'll hear me repeat a few times in this presentation is that there is no development or site alteration proposed. This application is to allow these buildings to be used for the proposed use. Next slide, please. So again, this shows an aerial view of the site plan. So we're identifying the existing buildings. We're also identifying some parking stalls. So currently the parking area is just pavement. So through consultation with our traffic consultant, we've come up with a parking ratio of 1 parking space per 30 square meters of GFA. So that has resulted in 12 parking spaces on this lot. So again, the gated entrance will remain, and the existing entrances on Old Coldwater Road are also going to remain. Next slide, please. So this shows some site photos of 9951 Highway 12. So again, there's just one large storage warehousing building, an existing parking area, and then a large lawn area. There is an existing entrance off Highway 12, and through consultation with the MTO, that is going to be removed. But the existing accesses off Old Coldwater Road are proposed to remain. Next slide, please. So similar, this is a site plan that shows the aerial view. Again, no development or site alteration proposed, simply that the use is going to operate within this building. Using that same parking ratio that's been consulted with the traffic consultant, this has resulted in 27 parking spaces as shown on the site plan here. Next slide, please. So through pre-consultation with township staff, we have prepared a few submission materials, specifically our planning justification report that was prepared by our office, an agricultural impact assessment. The lands are currently identified as prime agricultural area. The assessment has concluded that these lands lack any agricultural land base, and the use will also not impact any of the surrounding agricultural lands. A traffic brief was prepared, which concluded there's no operational concerns and also helped us identify those parking standards, which we'll continue to discuss with staff. And lastly, a commercial market justification study. And this was to help identify the tests in the PPS County of Simcoe official plan and township official plan, and concluded that there is an identified need for this use and the site is appropriate because of its key characteristics, such as being on a provincial highway, the existing built form, etc. It should also be noted that the justification study identified that the lands were utilized for a similar business establishment, an equipment sales and service operation since approximately 2008. And when the current owner and our client purchased the property, that was the intent, was to continue that use. Once it was discovered that those uses were actually not permitted as of right, our client's first step was to come before council and get that corrected before the business was in operation. And as discussed with staff through pre-con, there's going to be additional items as the lands are subject to site plan control. So things like landscaping, electrical, the Ontario Building Code matrix, all of those things are going to be further reviewed through site plan control. Next slide, please. So as reviewed in our planning justification report, it is our professional planning opinion that the applications have regard to matters of provincial interest and are consistent with the provincial planning statement, as the lands are located in a rural area, no additional buildings or site alteration is proposed, and the applications will permit commercial uses on previously disturbed lands. There's no anticipated impacts to natural heritage features, as the small area that is zoned environmental protection will remain. The agricultural impact assessment concluded there's going to be no impacts to agricultural lands. And specifically, there are tests in the PPS that to permit limited non-residential uses in prime agricultural areas. So the lands cannot comply with a specialty crop area, have to comply with minimum distance separation. There has to be an identified need, and alternative locations need to be assessed, which have all been reviewed. And the lands will continue to utilize existing individual water and wastewater services. Next slide, please. So as discussed, the lands are designated agricultural in the County of Simcoe official plan. We're proposing to maintain this designation as consistent with the PPS. It is permitted to have new limited non-residential uses in prime ag lands, provided you meet that criteria, which has been reviewed through our planning justification report, the commercial study, and a traffic brief and agricultural impact assessment. It should also be noted, as we are aware, the county is still completing their municipal comprehensive review, which includes reviewing this agricultural mapping, and these lands are actually identified to be removed from the agricultural designation. But once we figure out when that process will continue, this application is before you today. Next slide, please. So similarly, the lands are designated agricultural in the township official plan, and we're proposing to maintain that designation, but add an exception to permit the proposed use. In our opinion, it is consistent with the official plan, as it has those same tests in the PPS and the county official plan to permit this use, which has been reviewed. Next slide, please. The lands are currently zoned agricultural, rural, and environmental protection in the township zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. And as shown here, we are proposing to maintain the environmental protection zone. And we're proposing an exception only on the agricultural rural zone to permit the proposed use and some site-specific development standards, specifically that parking standard that I had described, to identify the front lot line as the line along Highway 12. This is simply to help with measuring setbacks. As we can see, they're quite odd-shaped properties, and it just assists with that. And there are some site-specific setback and height requirements to recognize the existing built form and these existing buildings to continue and not result in a non-complying situation. So in conclusion, it is our professional planning opinion that the applications have regard to matters of provincial interest, are consistent with the PPS, and meet the intent of the County of Simcoe official plan and Township official plan and Township zoning bylaw. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Newlove. Just stand by. Committee members, do we have any questions for the agent, Ms. Newlove? Seeing none, I think we're good so far. Is there anyone who's registered to speak to the matter, Madam Deputy Clerk?
No, Mr. Chair, there were no additional registrations received.
Thank you very much. And does anyone come here in chambers to speak to this matter? Seeing no one, all right. And have we received any additional correspondence during the course of the meeting?
No additional comments were received.
Thank you very much. With that, thank you very much, Ms. Newlove, for your presentation. This completes the application process and closes the meeting.
Thank you very much, Council.
Thank you. The committee wishes to thank all those in attendance for your participation, either through submitting or written comments and during the meeting, and we'll consider the matters in our decision. A copy of the decision will be mailed to the applicant, agent, and anyone who has submitted written comments or provided oral comments during the meeting in regard to the application. With that, we could move on to the next item in the agenda. Could we consider 5C, or is that, are we premature for that? Oh, not 5C, I'm sorry, 7. Is there another? I guess there's no further motions. This will come back
Correct.
At another date.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 7B, there is the public meeting that is at 6:30 is corresponding with that report
Okay.
for 7B. So
Okay.
we've got 2 minutes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't see why not. Okay, with that, we'll proceed with item 5E on the agenda, it being 6:30. The application is 2025 ZBA 31. The applicants are Hang Gao and Zhu Han, and the municipal address is 1667 Ridge Road East. This public meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA-31 submitted by Hangao and Zuhan on lands municipally known as 1667 Ridge Road East. Please be advised that this meeting is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record. Only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and requested agencies will the Development Services Committee make a decision on the zoning bylaw amendment application. Madam Deputy Clerk, has there been any correspondence received on this matter?
Correspondence received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Building Division dated July 14 and Enbridge Gas dated July 17, 2025.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn the meeting over to Catherine McCarroll, Senior Planner, who will explain the purpose and effect of the zoning bylaw amendment application and any written statement received from the applicant. Ms. McCarroll, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lavoie. The subject property is located at 1667 Ridge Road East. The property is zoned agricultural rural exception 15 and designated rural settlements as it's located within the Hawkstone settlement area. And the current use of the property is residential and it contains a woodlot. The applicants obtained approval of consent application 2025 B11 on July 2nd, 2025 to permit the creation of one new residential lot. As a condition of consent, the applicants submitted this zoning bylaw amendment application to rezone the severed lands from the agricultural rural exception 15 zone to the residential 1 zone to recognize the existing residential use. The aerial photo on the left-hand side shows the subject lands that are circled in red. There is an existing dwelling on the lands to be rezoned to residential 1. And then the photo on the right shows the public notice sign that was posted along Ridge Road East. This is the zoning sketch that shows the area to be rezoned from the agricultural rural exception 15 zone to the residential 1 zone. And these are photos looking both northeast and southwest along Ridge Road East. This is a photo of the single detached dwelling, which is on the lands to be rezoned residential 1. And this concludes staff's presentation. The purpose of tonight's public meeting was to obtain comments from the public. Due to the minor nature of the rezoning, planning staff have prepared a recommendation report and amending bylaw for council's consideration later in the agenda. I'm available if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCarroll. Committee members, any questions or comments with regard to this application? Okay, seeing none. Anyone registered to speak to this matter? Madam Deputy Clerk?
Excuse me, the applicant, Hangao, had registered to provide any comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you wish to provide any comments at the moment, Mr. Hangao? Okay, it's just confirming that he's here to answer any questions if there are any for the record. With that, is there any correspondence received during the course of the meeting?
No additional comments were received.
Thank you very much. And with that, I believe we're concluding the meeting. We're going to have that prepared motion later on in the meeting as a separate agenda item. Where would you like to proceed now?
We could do it now.
Okay, so I'll close this meeting and then we'll move to that. Okay, thank you very much. So this completes the application process and closes the meeting. The committee wishes to thank everyone in attendance for their participation, either through written comments or oral comments. And these will be considered in the matters in their decision. And a copy of the decision will be mailed to the applicant, agent, and anyone who has submitted written or oral comments during the meeting in regard to the application. So with that, since we have a little bit of time, we will proceed to which item number is it on the agenda, please?
7B.
7B. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So may we have the motion for 7B, please?
Moved by Shell, seconded by Young. It is recommended, one, that DS 2025-081, Catherine McCarroll, Senior Planner, rezoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA 31, Gao and Hen, 1667 Ridge Road East be received and adopted. Two, that zoning bylaw amendment application 2025 ZBA 31, specifically to rezone the severed lands from the agricultural rural exception 15 ARU 15 zone to the residential 1 R1 zone on the lands municipally known as 1667 Ridge Road East, Township of Oro-Medonte, be approved. 3, that staff bring forth the appropriate bylaw for council's consideration. 4, that the applicant be advised of the committee's decision under the Director of Development Services signature.
Thank you very much with that. Any questions or comments with regard to the motion itself? Seeing none, may I call the vote on it, please? All those in favor? Thank you very much, Councillor Young. The motion has carried. So with that, our next meeting is 6:45, so we have approximately 9 minutes. Is there any other matters we might be able to dispose of? No? All right.
We will schedule a break.
Okay, we'll have a little recess
Thank you.
until 6:45 when the next item will commence. 8, 7, 6, 5. Is my camera on? No, it's not. Maybe it'd be a good idea if I turn my camera on. There we go.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, we're live.
Thank you very much. With that, it's 6:45, so we'll continue with application 2025B08. The applicant is, oh, sorry, what have I? Oh, sorry, yes, of course.
Yes, Mr. Deputy, I'd like to excuse myself from this one.
Yes, thank you. The application is 2025B08. The applicant is 283-1069 Ontario Inc., Starmont Group. The municipal address is 193 Line 11 North. This public hearing is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the consent application 2025B08 submitted by 283-1069 Ontario Inc. on lands municipally known as 193 Line 11 North. Please be advised that this hearing is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record. Only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and requested agencies will the Development Services Committee make a decision on the consent application. Madam Deputy Clerk, has there been comment received on this matter?
Yes, correspondence received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Operations Division, July 15, County of Simcoe Planning Department, July 18, Enbridge Gas, July 18, Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, July 23rd, and Township of Oro-Medonte Building Division, dated July 25th, 2025.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn the meeting over to Yubing Fan, planner, who will explain the purpose and effect of the consent application and any written statement received from the applicant. Ms. Fan, please.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. The consent application 2025B08 is applied for the property located at 193 Line 11 North. The property is zoned agricultural, rural, and environmental protection, and designated agricultural and green lands in the township's official plan. The current use of the property is residential and agricultural. Next slide, please. This slide presents the purpose of this application. The applicant is requesting to create a new lot through the severance of dwelling described as surplus to a consolidated farming operation. The details of the proposed consent are shown in this table. The lands to be severed would have a frontage of approximately 57 meters and an area of 1.08 hectares. And the lands to be retained would have a frontage of 480.5 meters and an area of 42.62 hectares. Next, please. The image on the left-hand side is an aerial photo of the property. The proposed severed area is zoned agricultural, rural, and designated agricultural in the township's planning policies. The photo on the right-hand side shows that a public notice sign has been posted on the subject property. Next, please. This slide shows us the consent sketch. The lands to be severed are located along the Line 11 North. The existing dwelling is on the lands to be severed, and there are 7 buildings on the lands to be severed. The retained land is required to be rezoned to an exemption zone, which will prohibit future residential use. Next slide, please. These two pictures show the views looking north and south along the Line 11 North. Next, please. This picture shows the views of lands to be retained and lands to be severed. Next, please. These two photos show two existing buildings on the severed lot, which are a single detached dwelling and a mobile home. Next, please. This slide shows us the other 5 existing buildings on the land to be severed. The number of this building is labeled in accordance with the consent sketch. In the bottom right corner of the left-hand side photo, we can see the back portion of a tow truck. Next, please. This slide shows 2 photos of some unlicensed vehicles on the several lands around the existing buildings. Planning staff have concerns that there's a business operating out of the existing buildings on the several lands, which is not currently permitted. Next, please. This slide concludes my presentation. It is recommended that the consent application 2025-B08 be denied on the basis that the application does not conform to the township official plan and does not comply with the township zoning bylaw. Thank you, committee member, and I'm available for any questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Van. I'd like to now ask the agent, Robert Clark, who is registered to speak to the application, if he wishes to add, provide further comments or add anything to the staff report. Mr. Clark, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Please state your name.
Robert Clark,
Yeah,
with Clark Consulting Services, and I represent the owner of the property. And I do appreciate the staff review. I understood that the staff in their actual verbal or written indicated that we had compliance on the basis of a surplus farm home. And so I'm going to suggest that what I would ask the committee would be to defer this. We have been working with our client to clarify exactly what the future use of the property will be. And the intention is for the larger accessory building to continue to be used as a welding shop. There is a potential purchaser for the property, and he can provide us with details as to exactly how he proposes to use that accessory structure. And I understand that the staff are concerned that if this is zoned as residential, then the accessory structure may be an issue. What we are suggesting is that there are many examples throughout your municipality where there are smaller residential lots which have accessory structures which are being used for home industry or home occupations. And that is what is being proposed here. The proposal at present time is for a lot that's smaller than the 4 hectare requirement for your agricultural rural zone. And what we were hoping is that you could accept an exception for the lot area because it's a currently operating business. We acknowledge that there are a number of vehicles, unlicensed vehicles there, and the purpose is to clean that up. And that's part of what will be done as part of this. It's our client's intention to continue the use of the property as it's currently being used to, as a result of the consent that will enable them to clean up the property. And it's my own position that the surplus farmhouse can include a home industry, and we will be requesting that, and we will be requesting that that be an exception to the zone that is being proposed for the property in order to recognize the continuation of an existing use, which provides a service to the community in which it's located. We have reviewed with your staff the accessory structures, and I would comment that the coverage for the proposed building is less than the 5% that is the maximum permitted in the residential zone. There may be a requirement for some adjustments, and we would welcome the opportunity to review those with your staff prior to proceeding with the more formal application. I'm certainly available to answer any questions. My main concern is that this building and its use be able to continue serving the community, and I believe the approval with consideration will allow this continuation and be effective for the community itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. Does any member of the committee have questions for the agent, Mr. Clark? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chair Lavoie. Just so I'm clear, so this is really, you know, you're asking for this item to be deferred until you can work with staff to find out how it can comply within our municipal laws moving forward. So you're, because I don't want to be confused, you want something approved with a residential home. We're going to deal with this as one matter, and we will put forward a motion to defer so that you and the staff can work it through. Is that fair?
That is fair. That is what we're requesting. And I should acknowledge that my client and the potential purchaser are present if there is an advantage to speaking with them.
Yeah. No. I'm fine. I think it's great because I know our staff's very good to work with, and if there's something that fits within our regulations, they will definitely accommodate. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Mayor. And I think any other comments or questions with regard to this matter? Okay, seeing none, and I think it's probably appropriate that we wait until the application is reformulated so that we know what we're having. And I do want to thank those of you who did come tonight. Oh, sorry, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight to make themselves available. Councillor Schell, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to George, what is the procedure to defer from what's already come forward? This has been denied. So how do we have to change? How do we change this? What's the formality? Or Madam Clerk, whomever can.
The motion has not been considered, or a motion has not been put on the floor yet.
Okay.
We'll continue with the public process in terms of any additional registrations or additional comments from the public, from the gallery, and then we'll ask for a motion to come forward, whether it's the motion from the report or a deferral motion that the mayor had suggested.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk. With that, is there anyone who is registered to speak to this matter tonight?
There were no additional registrations received.
Okay, and in the context of the application, is there anyone here in chambers who wishes to speak to this matter? Okay, seeing none. And did we receive any additional correspondence during the course of the hearing?
No additional comments were received.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think, Madam Deputy Clerk, we have a motion to defer on that basis.
Moved by Greenlaw, seconded by Hutchison. It is recommended that DS 2025-086, Yubing Fan Planner Reconsent Application 2025-B08, 2831069, Ontario Inc., 193 Line 11 North be received. 2, that consent application 2025-B08 to permit the creation of a new lot having a lot area of approximately 1.08 hectares, 2.66 acres, and a lot frontage of approximately 57.0 meters, 187.0 feet, containing a dwelling that is surplus to the applicant's consolidated farm operation, be deferred to provide the applicants with the opportunity to revise their plans to conform to the township's official plan and comply with the township's zoning bylaw. 3, that the applicants be advised of the committee's decision under the Secretary Treasurer's signature.
Thank you very much for the motion, Madam Deputy Clerk. I'd like to call a vote on the motion, please. All those in favor of the deferral? The motion is carried and the matter will be deferred. Thank you very much for bringing that forward to us this evening. So the committee wishes to thank all those in attendance for their participation, and a copy will be mailed to the applicant, agent, and anyone who has submitted written comments or provide oral comments during the hearing in regard to the application. With that, we're on time to proceed to item 5B, which is an application 2025A23. The applicant is Ward. James Ward, excuse me, and the municipal address is 253 Craig Side Road. And this public hearing is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the minor variance application 2025A23 submitted by James Ward on lands municipally known as 253 Craig Side Road. Please be advised that the hearing is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record. Only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and requested agencies will the Development Services Committee make a decision on the minor variance application. And Madam Deputy Clerk, has there been correspondence received on the matter?
Correspondence received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Operations Division dated July 15, Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority July 16, and Township of Oro-Medonte Building Division dated July 25th, 2025.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn the meeting over to Vanessa Simpson and David Scarsaloni, who will explain the purpose and effect of the minor variance application and any written statement received from the applicant. Mr. Scarsaloni, please state your name and proceed.
Good evening, Chair and Committee. David Scarsaloni, Junior Planner, Morgan Planning and Development. Again, I'm the agent responsible for representing the applicant with all planning matters as they relate to application 2025A-23 at 253 Craig Side Road, Oro-Medonte. And just some context, if you can see the two images above, there was a consent application approved in 2024, I believe, which the parcel on the left was severed from the larger parcel, as you can see on the right. So if we could just move on to the next slide. Just moving into the location of the subject lands, it's on Craig Side Road, just south of Moonstone Road West, and approximately 3 kilometers from Ore Lake, as you can just see poking through on the left side of the screen there. Next slide, please. Actually, we'll go one more slide as well. I'll just explain this while the aerial imagery is up. Subject property, again, is located north of Highway 400 and south of Moonstone Road West. It has approximately 134.2 meters of frontage on Craig Side Road and a lot area of approximately a hectare. A previous consent application, 2024-B-12, was heard and approved on August 7th, 2024. And the property is currently developed with a 4-plex dwelling and a number of accessory structures to the residential use. It's worth noting that the client purchased the property the client purchased the property with the existing conditions, so the 4-plex was already on the property when the client purchased the property. So next slide, please. Just moving into the purpose of the application, following the aforementioned approval of consent, it was determined that the existing use during a visit was not permitted. Through discussions with Township Planning Department, it was determined that a minor variance application could be made to permit consolidation of an existing 4 units into 3 units. The proposed variance application seeks to permit 2 apartment dwelling units within a single detached dwelling, which are both accessed via a common means of egress within the building. Interior renovations would be required to support the change, and the dwelling currently, as I mentioned, contains 4 residential units. Unit 1 and Unit 4 would be considered the principal dwelling, and Unit 2 and Unit 3 would be considered 2 apartment dwellings, which we'll get to on the next slide. Or apologies, this is just the current conditions. So as you can see in the very rough sketch on the left, that's the current existing conditions of the structure. So Units 1 and 4 are on the left side of the structure. Or I guess it would be the south side, sorry. The directions are all not coordinated here, but there is a 2-bedroom and loft in Unit 4 and 1 bedroom in Unit 1, and Unit 3 and 2 are both 1 bedrooms, with Unit 2 being a bachelor. And as you can see, the current floor plans on the right side of the screen, Unit 4 has a loft as well. So if we could just move on to the next slide. This is the proposed floor plan. So as you can see, the entire left side of the dwelling would become the principal dwelling with a loft and 2 stories. And units 2 and 3 would both be separately conveyable units accessed via a common means of egress within the building. As you can see on the left, there is a zoning matrix stating that we are deficient in the maximum number of units accessory to a single detached dwelling, proposing 2. The maximum is 1, and currently the access to the units requires separate outdoor access points, and we're proposing a common means of egress within the structure. So moving on to the next slide, please. Just an overview of the zoning and official plan designations. The property is entirely zoned agricultural rural, as well as being designated rural by the Township of Oro-Medonte official plan. As well, it's worth mentioning that it's designated entirely rural by the County of Simcoe official plan. Moving on. In terms of specific policies that we're requesting variances from, section 5.4, we're requesting a variance to permit a maximum of 2 apartment dwelling units within a single detached dwelling in the agricultural rural zone, whereas the zoning bylaw currently permits a maximum of 1. As well as section 5.4D, we're requesting to permit an apartment dwelling unit to have a shared means of egress, whereas the zoning bylaw requires a means of egress to the outside that is separate from any means of egress from another dwelling unit. Next slide, please. We've submitted a planning justification report with the application that addresses the provincial planning statements, the County of Simcoe official plan, as well as the Township of Oro-Medonte zoning bylaw and official plan. Next slide. We believe that the application conforms to the 4 tests of a minor variance of the Planning Act, that being that we consider it minor in nature when considering the impact on adjacent properties. We believe it's desirable for the appropriate development of land, and we believe it's within the general and maintains the general intent of both the official plan and zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. So just to briefly conclude, we believe the application is appropriate, desirable, and represents good land use planning. We believe it conforms to the intents and policies of the township official plan as well as the county official plan. And we believe it's also consistent with the provincial planning statement. The minor variance, again, seeks to permit the following: consolidation of the existing 4-unit dwelling into 3 units, that being a principal dwelling with 2 additional residential units within. And the proposed variances, we believe, passes the 4 tests of minor variance, and as well, sorry to mention, a common means of egress as well. We're requesting a variance from section 5.4D. We have read staff report DS 2025-087 and accept all comments as well as township staff's recommendation. And if committee chooses to agree with township staff's recommendation, we will provide a full detailed set of floor plans to further evaluate access and separation of units. If we could just move on. There's just an addendum at the end. We provided some site photos just for context. So if we could go one more slide. Apologies. So that's just the road access to the property. Next slide. There is the existing 4-unit dwelling, just a front view. Next slide. There is some small accessory structures towards the rear of the lot. Next slide, please. And there's the rear of the 4-unit dwelling, and I believe that's it. So thank you very much for your time, committee. I'll now invite any questions from township staff, members of the committee, or public at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scarsoloni. Committee members, do you have any questions, clarifications from Mr. Scarsoloni? I'm seeing none. Is there anyone who's registered to speak to this matter, Madam Deputy Clerk?
Vanessa
Vanessa Simpson?
Vanessa Simpson had also registered if there were additional comments for her.
I believe she's just watching online.
Thank you.
Okay.
Then no additional registrations were received.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody here in chambers who came to speak to this matter? Nope. And do we have any additional correspondence received during the course of the hearing?
No additional comments were received.
Okay. And so I understand then from this application that the recommendation from staff is to defer on the basis of the separation of the units. Is that correct? Okay. Okay, so and you're agreeable to a deferral and working with staff moving forward to see if we can get to an agreement?
Yeah, through the chair, yes, we are agreeable to that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so may we have the motion then, please, Madam Deputy Clerk?
Moved by Clark, seconded by Young. It is recommended, one, that DS 2025-087, Yubing Fan Planner Reminder Variance Application 2025-A23, Ward 253, Craig Side Road be received and adopted. 2, that minor variance application 2025-A23, specifically to legalize 2 existing apartment dwelling units in a single detached dwelling, and to recognize that 2 apartment dwelling units have a shared means of egress with the main dwelling unit on lands municipally known as 253 Craig Side Road, Township of Oro-Medonte, be deferred to provide the applicant with the opportunity to address building staff comments contained in DS 2025-087. 3, that the applicant be advised of committee's decision under the Secretary Treasurer's signature.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions with regard to the motion itself? Seeing none, may I call the vote, please? All in favor? Okay, the motion is carried. Thank you very much for your presentation. So the application process is complete for the time being, and this closes this hearing. The committee wishes to thank those in attendance for their participation, and a copy of the decision will be mailed to the applicant, agent, and anyone who has submitted written comments or provided oral comments during the hearing in regard to the application. With that, oh, yes, we can. We'll move ahead to item 5C on the agenda, which is application 2025B15. The applicant is Brad Gilker, and the municipal address is 1633 Bass Lake Side Road East. And this public hearing is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act to obtain public comments with respect to the consent application 2025B15, submitted by Brad Gilker on lands municipally known as 1633 Bass Lake Side Road East. Please be advised that this hearing is being digitally recorded for the purposes of the creation of a public record. Only after comments are received from the public, township staff, and requested agencies will the Development Services Committee make a decision on the consent application. Madam Deputy Clerk, has there been communication on this matter? Councillor Schell, just give me one moment, please. Yes, sir.
Please excuse me. I thought I heard you say 5C, just for the record. I know it is 6C, but I thought it might be my hearing aids.
You're right. Thank you very much, sir. It is 6C on the agenda. So with that, has there been communication received on the matter?
Yes, correspondence received from the Township of Oro-Medonte Operations Division, July 15, Enbridge Gas, July 18, Township of Oro-Medonte Building Division, dated January 25th, and County of Simcoe Planning Department, dated July 31, 2025.
Thank you very much. I'll now turn the meeting over to Catherine McCarroll, Senior Planner, who will explain the purpose and effect of the consent application and any written statement received from the applicant. Ms. McCarroll, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lavoie. Subject property is located at 1633 Bass Lake Side Road East. The property is zoned agricultural rural and designated rural and greenlands in the township's official plan. The current use of the property is residential and agricultural. The purpose of this consent application is to create a new residential lot. So the lands to be severed would have a frontage of 50 meters, a depth of 82 meters, and an area of approximately 0.4 hectares, and would be for residential use. And the lands to be retained would have a frontage of approximately 667 meters, a depth of 417 meters, and an area of approximately 29.5 hectares, and the use would be agricultural. The photo on the left is an aerial photo of the property. The single detached dwelling is located in the middle of the property, and it's surrounded by farm fields and woodlands. The map on the right-hand side shows the county's land use designation map. The area that is in brown is designated rural, and the area that's in green is designated greenlands. And the proposed lot would be located in the area designated rural, which is in brown. The map on the left shows the township official plan land use designations. Similar to the county's official plan, the property is designated rural, which is identified in white, and designated greenland, which is identified in green. The map on the right-hand side shows that the subject lands contained a significant woodland and an area of natural and scientific interest. However, these natural heritage features are located more than 230 meters from the proposed lot. Therefore, none of these natural heritage features policies are applicable to this application. This is the applicant's consent sketch. The lands to be severed are identified in red, and the lands to be retained are identified in green. These are the views looking both east and west along that should be Bass Lakeside Road East. The photo on the left is the public notice sign that was posted along Bass Lakeside Road East, and then the photo on the right is the view of the property from the road. The photo on the left-hand side shows the existing single detached dwelling, which is on the lands to be retained. And then the photo on the right shows also the lands to be retained, and it shows the farmland in the distance. These two photos are photos of the lands to be severed. The applicant selected this particular location for several reasons. The area is relatively flat and far from the natural heritage features. It has a gated entrance and a culvert with good visibility along the road. There is an existing old dug well and a hydro pole within the proposed lot area, and the access to the farm fields will not be impacted. It is recommended that consent application 2025 B15 be approved, as the application conforms to and is consistent with the applicable provincial, county, and township planning policies. All the recommended conditions are listed on this slide and the following slides, and I'm available if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCarroll. I now ask the applicant, Brad Gilker, who is registered to speak, if he has anything further to provide with regard to the staff presentation. Mr. Gilker?
I don't have anything to add to Ms. McCarroll's
presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Gilker. Okay. We'll just proceed then for committee comments or questions. Committee members, do you have any comments, questions? Nope. Seeing looks pretty straightforward, I think. Anyone registered to speak to this matter, Madam Deputy Clerk?
No, Mr. Chair, there were no additional registrations received.
Thank you very much. Anyone, any further communication received during the course of the hearing?
No additional comments were received.
Thank you. Is anyone here in chambers come to speak to this matter, other than Mr. Gilker, who is not commenting at the moment? Seeing none, thank you. We now hear the motion, Madam Deputy Clerk.
Moved by Bard, seconded by Shell. It is recommended, one, that DS 2025-083, Catherine McCarroll, Senior Planner, reconsent application 2025-B15, Gilker, 1633 Bass Lakeside Road East, be received and adopted. 2, that consent application 2025-B15 be approved to permit the creation of a new residential lot having a lot frontage of approximately 50.0 meters, 164.0 feet, a lot depth of approximately 82.0 meters, 269.0 feet, in an area of approximately 0.4 hectares, 1.0 acres, subject to the conditions as outlined in DS 2025-083. 3, that the applicants be advised of committee's decision under the Secretary Treasurer's signature.
Thank you very much. Any questions with regard to the motion itself from the committee members? Seeing none, may I call the vote, please? All in favor? The motion is carried. With that, completes the application process and closes this hearing. The committee wishes to thank everybody for their participation, and a copy of the decision will be mailed to the applicant, agent, and anyone who has submitted written comments or provided oral comments during the hearing in regard to the application. So with that, we've completed this evening's meetings and hearings, and we will proceed with the remainder of the agenda. And I just wanted to reorient myself, Madam Deputy Clerk. So we have already dealt with item 7A and item 7B, and we have item 7C to deal with. Okay, may we have a motion for item 7C, please?
Mr. Chair, we have dealt with all the three reports
All three.
under 7A, B, and C.
There you go. See,
Thank you.
I needed some assistance with that. Okay, well, with that, we are going to announce the next meeting date that everybody's dying to hear about. It will be on September 3rd, 2025, so please free up that evening. Tune in. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn the Development Services Committee meeting of this evening?
Moved by Shell, seconded by Clark. It is recommended that we do now adjourn at 7:21 p.m.
Thank you very much. All those in favor of adjournment? Well, that motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. And with that, I'll pass the gavel over to Mayor Greenlaw to carry on with the meeting following the Development Services Committee.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair and Deputy Lavoie. I'd like to call the meeting following, the council meeting following the DSC meeting to order. May we please have a motion to adopt the agenda, Madam Clerk?
Moved by Shell, seconded by Bard. Be it resolved that the agenda for the council meeting of Wednesday, August 6, 2025 be received and adopted.
All in favor? That is carried. Any pecuniary interest to declare? Sorry, my apologies, Councillor Bard.
I just wanted to note, thank you, Mr. Mayor, that to excuse myself from 4B, excuse myself from 6A, so that would have to be separate, or I won't vote on it, I guess.
Okay, and we'll break those out when we get them. Is that okay, Madam Clerk?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. May we have a motion for the draft minutes of the previous council meeting, please?
Moved by Lavoie, seconded by Clark. Be it resolved that the draft minutes of the council meeting held on Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025 be received and adopted as printed and circulated.
Are there any changes to the draft minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. May we have a motion to approve the recommendations of tonight's DSC meeting, please?
Moved by Young, seconded by Hutchison. Be it resolved that the recommendations of the Development Services Committee meeting held on Wednesday, August 6, 2025 be adopted with the exception of item 6A to be voted on separately.
All in favor? That is carried. May we have a motion to approve the recommendations of tonight's meetings?
The separate motion that was split out, Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Sorry.
please. Yes,
Thank
please.
you. Moved by Clark, seconded by Hutchison. Be it resolved that DS 2025-086 Yubing Van Planner Reconsent Application 2025-B08 283-1069 Ontario Inc. 193 Line 11 North be received and adopted to the consent application 2025-B08 to permit the creation of a new lot through the severance of a dwelling described as surplus to a consolidated farming operation on the lands municipally known as 193 Line 11 North, Township of Oro-Medonte. Oh, my apologies. Be deferred. Be deferred to provide the applicants with the opportunity to revise their plans to conform to the township's official plan and comply with the township zoning bylaw. And 3, that the applicants be advised of council's decision under the Secretary Treasurer's signature.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. All in favor? That is passed. May we have the motion for the draft bylaws, please?
Moved by Clark, seconded by Young. Be it resolved that bylaw numbers 2025-069, 2025-070, and 2025-071 be passed in open council on the 6th day of August, 2025.
Are there any questions regarding the draft bylaws? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. May we have a motion for the confirmation bylaw?
Moved by Bard, seconded by Lavoie. Be it resolved that that bylaw number 2025-074, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on Wednesday, August 6, 2025, be passed in open council on the 6th day of August 2025.
All in favor? That is carried. May we have a motion to adjourn, please?
Moved by Hutchison, seconded by Shell. Be it resolved that we do now adjourn at 7:25 p.m.
All in favor? That is carried. Everybody enjoy the rest of the week, and those going to Boots and Hearts, enjoy yourself, stay safe, and stay hydrated, I guess would be the theme of the week.